Okay, Coach. Yeah, just what are you most looking forward to about this upcoming season with your offense?
Well, just seeing the guys compete and play hard. And I hate to be cliche, but if you get too carried away with, I've been bombarded today with all the questions of, like, you got to be like a kid in a candy shop or one of those. I mean, for us as coaches, we focus on improvement, and we have to find ways to improve as an offense, as individuals, and our players understand that. So we got to get back to the basic fundamentals. Ball security is something that we work on every day, so we'll work on that. We'll work on our system. We'll work on our communication. Just the base fundamentals of the offense. To strip back down and get back to that is what you're most looking forward to at the start of camp as a coach.
Talking about the quarterbacks, what is something that maybe Mason has taken from some of the backups and applied to his game? Do they do anything better than him that he's kind of looked and used towards his game? I
wouldn't say necessarily that he's done anything to where he's stolen from those guys anything. I think what you have when you have a bunch of talented quarterbacks is you get competition, and it brings out the best in everybody. Not only just in practice and in games, but in drill work too. So they're constantly competing back and forth and trying to be the most accurate in a particular drill, which is just a great habit, and it's good to have and have that in your every drill that you have.
Yeah. And then looking at the running backs, how excited are you about the kind of second string competition behind Justice Hill?
It's going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. We got Jeff Carr, and we got Jarrick Wilson come back, who just really started getting significant reps in the spring. So, he's brand new to it, so he'll continue to improve. And then we have two young guys coming, to us, J.D. King and Chuba Hubbard, which, you don't want to depend on a true freshman playing, but those guys are pretty they're different in their athleticism and their frames. They've done a great job in the weight room and training and strength, so they can carry a load if need be. I'm not saying that they will be the guy. I mean, they got to practice, and we haven't even had to practice yet. So we'll see. But yes, you're correct that's going to be a very interesting position to evaluate and see who really becomes that number 2 guy.
We were just talking to Coach McIndoe about personnel. How much of what you run on offense is like, hey, I'm just going to run this no matter who I have, and how much of it is based on, well, we've got these guys this year, so we'll kind of fit it to fit what we have?
Yeah, I think you always have to be conscious of your personnel and playing the personnel strengths. We're not going to just line up in 2 tight end sets just to line up in 2 tight end sets. I mean, that's not smart football. So we'll find ways to move the football based on our personnel, but staying within your system is very important, and it really comes down to then recruiting. To some degree, you have to recruit the best players out there that are available, but you have to be smart because you have to recruit towards your system to some degree. I think you can't be too rigid in that regard. There's been a lot of conversations about that as far as coaches go and philosophies, but you have to play to your personnel strengths and speed kills. So there you
go. Who on? I asked Mason this last week at Big 12 Media Days, but who on defense do you feel like has made your offense better the most often, like that you've seen in their
our defense going against our defense? Well, I'll tell you what, I would think Mason Rudolph would probably say Ramon has, and he does a great job of disguising certain looks, and he's very, he played quarterback in high school, so I think he understands. He has a high football IQ, and so I think that helps him in how he plays the defensive back position.
Yeah, that is who he said. So good call. You got anything, Carl?
You talk a little bit about Jarrick Wilson, a walk-on from Texas. What will it take for him to kind of thrust himself into the conversation to back up Justice?
His ability to grasp all the concepts, to be a well-rounded back, and to continue to condition himself. I think he's physical enough. He understands ball security very well, and he's got a great attitude about himself. So I think it's a matter of time and reps for him to just really embrace that role.
You have 2 stud, I guess a lot of people would say stud freshmen coming in J.D. King and Chuba.
Mm-hmm.
What are you most looking forward to in each of those players?
It's kind of a teaser, when you start camp, because you're in pajamas, as Joe Bob will call it, because it's really not real football. You're just teaching, and you're going over technique, and you're going over certain your rules and that sort of thing. But practice 4 become full pads, and then seeing the fur fly. You know what I'm saying? And get after it and see who's going to be physical, who can bounce off, make somebody miss, but who can break a tackle, and who can get that tough yards after contact. That's the fun part.
With how fast you guys have run on offense and played, how many plays ahead are you thinking when you're trying to call plays in the press box, and just are you in the moment and then you move to the next play, or just how far ahead of
you always want to try to stay at least one play ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the more it's interesting with tempo and trying to be ready to call a particular play and be ready to go on tempo, because the ball may change hash, and you might have thought that it's going to be this, so now it's that. So you really have to have a couple contingencies. Yeah. So within that next play call, 2 different things. And then if you're 1st and 10 and you're anticipating going fast the next play, but if you're 2nd and 10, I mean, you don't want to go fast and punt.
Right.
So you got to make sure that you're getting the gain that you need, and then where's the ball located. So there's really kind of a 3-pronged deal. It's probably a 3-play deal that you're thinking about for the next play. We can go fast on the left hash, go fast on the right hash, which are 2 different calls. Or if we're behind the chains, we're going to slow it down and then, maybe look over or get into a good play that we need to make sure that we get 6 yards.
How much has Mason earned that trust over the last 3 years in terms of you being able to shoulder that, be able to shoulder the load a little bit in terms of play calling and making decisions?
We feel that he can make a lot of good calls.
Yeah.
We try to limit that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because as a quarterback, I think if you can limit as much as possible, and then being able to play fast, you're able to change your tempos to where you can get in the best optimal play. And for us to just simply look over at times, mm-hmm. it gives you the advantage, and it's less on his plate.
Yeah.
So he's not consternating throughout the week about, and you're stressing. I mean, it's all brain space, right? And so, I mean, his brain space needs to be: is James open? Is Lacey open? Get it to McCluskey or check it down on the tailback. That's his mentality. He's got to be thinking fast, and he's got to understand where to go with the ball in his progressions and post snap what to do with the ball. Yeah. That's most important.
I think the last one I got is just, what does Tyron do best? I mean, he's coming in, a lot of hype. What's his best attribute right now?
That's a great question. I think he's very good at several things, and I hate to really blow him up too much. He's got to take a snap on game day for us first. But in the spring, he showed us a tremendous ability to make people miss after catch. He's got good change of direction, so he's good in a phone booth.
Yeah.
If you and him were in a phone booth, he could probably get around you. He's got that good. He's got that good change of direction. I don't know. You look like a heck of an athlete. But he can also blow the top off the coverage.
Yeah.
So he can go on a long ball. So he's got that mid range and short game, and he can go get it. And he's physical, and he's got a lot of passion for the game.
Yeah.
And he's picked up our system really well.
Yeah.
So he's smart, and so he's got it going on. Which I hate to pump him up too much right now. You know what I mean? Yeah, I just want to see him playing the game first.
I think blogs and the internet's done that enough. I think
the internet's done that enough with us as a whole. I mean, holy mackerel! I mean, I try to stay out of that stuff, but
it's good on some level, right?
You got
for recruiting and
we here's what's nice. I think our guys understand that it is about the process.
Yeah.
And I know everybody in the world is talking about it's in the process.
Right.
But I guess I know our guys get that.
Yeah.
And it starts from Coach Glass in the weight room, and it just permeates throughout the whole year. And I think they're focused on this season. I think they have a chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove. It's their last time together for a lot of them, and they're hungry.
Yeah.
And hey, we got to practice good, practice 1, and then practice 2, focus on that, and then beat Tulsa. And that's the mind frame. I mean, that's the mindset. And our goal is to improve.
Yeah.
and then everything else takes care of itself.
Yeah.
But all this, everything else on the blogs and the Twitter, I mean, it's just, you know, I think our guys are mature enough to handle that and not focus on that stuff.
Good?
Good.
Okay.
Thank you.